So, action replay. So let's give ourselves the permission to succeed. Success stories begin with successful collaborations. And this afternoon, we're going to kick off with our new roundtable, moderated by the Deputy Chair for International Operations and Managing Partner at Dechert law firm, Alain Decombe. Alain?
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm here, as I said earlier, with two invitees, Philippe Peltier of Kurma Partners and Filippo MONTELEONE, who accumulates the role, is CEO of CAREIT, which is a consulting firm in the healthcare providers sector, and is also the head of an investment fund in focus at life sciences. So we are here to talk about e-health, and we have only 25 minutes, and we have many things to say, so we'll try to be as concise as possible. I will be, and I will monitor you, because I know that both of you can talk about this subject that you know greatly for hours. So we talk about digital technologies, which came rather late in the healthcare space. I think that health tech started to emerge in 2010, and this despite significant needs for digitalization in the healthcare. Many reasons. There is a very long list. Spending out of control, aging population, patients requiring specialized care, patients requiring remote monitoring, shortage of healthcare professionals. So many reasons to push digitalization into the healthcare space. And I will start with you, Philippe. You have been investor, a pioneer investor in the health tech sector. I say pioneer because we see now an acceleration, and Kurma, you have probably seen the press, was acquired recently by Euraseo. So you have invested in this sector for a long time. Why, in a short words, do you think digital technologies are so critical to the transformation and the future of healthcare?
Thanks, Alain, for the kind word and introduction. So as you said, there is many challenges ahead of us in terms of healthcare, and I think that what we all saw with the COVID crisis is just the tip of the iceberg, because we have many today challenges, especially if I take only one, is the management of chronic disease. And to manage and to make the things more efficient, I think that this is where digitalizations will be in play, not to replace, because this is something very important to me, not to replace healthcare professionals, nurses or doctors, but to help them with very interesting tools in order to improve the patient care, because what is at stake is the patient care at the end. So in terms of sectors, we saw many things, and I will not go into more details because we can spend hours on this one. I will try to focus mainly on the area of interest at Kurma. So we are a strong believer that diagnosis. We believe in three words. Those three words is prevent, diagnose, and monitor. And you can do all those three things with now software as a medical device, and I will give you an example. So it's software improving how you manage the data and how you can put a diagnosis on the disease, for instance. There is things that can go up to drug discovery also, which will have a major impact in the time of development of drugs to make it more efficient. We can also improve R&D and clinical trials also. And to give you an example, because we started our journey into digital health back in 2015, so almost at the beginning of this very interesting emerging field, and we made an investment in Cardiolog. So what is Cardiolog doing? Cardiolog is putting a diagnosis on cardiac or heart conditions based on solutions driven and run by AI and machine learning to put a diagnosis in a couple of minutes instead of having a cardiologist reviewing your electrocardiogram for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It can be done as efficiently in a couple of minutes. So how it helps the patient? So it's provide a proper diagnosis on the cardiac conditions very quickly, and it helps the cardiologist to put the right diagnosis on the condition and help him to connect and be with the patient instead of being behind his desk at looking at the electrocardiogram.
Thank you, Philippe. So now talking to Filippo, you have managed, you have been the leader of a market leader in healthcare providers, Général de Santé, and now you assist through CAREIT, the healthcare providers. For you, how does e-health impact this sector, and more specifically, which type of challenges these healthcare providers and their new partner, the health tech companies, are confronted to?
Thank you. I try to be short, even if I'm Italian, so my nature is going to be my enemy. But just to be short, I think that there are a lot of challenges for the healthcare providers today. But I think that concerning care pathway, concerning the way we treat patients, concerning the organization around patients, and this is true almost everywhere in the world. But the first issue, the major issue, is fragmentation. Care fragmentation is probably a major issue. Of course, in the US, when you say the HMOs or in some integrated care organization in the Nordics, this is a little bit different. But I would say that the major issue for everybody is how to manage, how to schedule, how to treat at the right moment the patient in the right setup. So this is something that is already is an issue that all existed. It's nothing new, but with the emergency of chronic diseases, as Philippe said, these things change, because of course when you see that 80% of the healthcare spending in growth is in chronic disease, when you see that we are going from acute to chronic, even in some pathologies like cancer, for example, that today is a chronic condition, you understand that is a key point how to structure, organize this. So the solution to face this challenge, or one of the solutions, can be through digital solutions. Digital solution can provide a part of this coordination, can provide access with booking, can provide telemedicine, teleconsultation, teleexpertise, all this area where you can keep the patient on track. And what is quite new for the sector is it can also be therapeutic. You can have also today, for some areas, some digital therapeutics. So it's all these bricks that are key for the providers, but I would say for the patient itself, because the patient is in a kind of a mess of his patient journey along care pathway during especially chronic conditions.
Thank you. I see that we are now 16 minutes and we have 25, so I will jump to the two last questions, okay, because I think they are of importance. Okay, the first question, and these questions are for both of you. The first question is interesting. Does an e-health startup require sophisticated technologies to address satisfactorily user cases and become a market leader? Is it? Maybe we'll start with you, Philippe. I don't think that you are in agreement, but let's start by you, Philippe. Filippo.
No, I think that of course there is a lot, and I mean we are here with people that puts a lot of energy, of thinking of they really think that technology is important, is key, is the key factor. I'm not saying the contrary. As you know, I think that technology is important, but I think that the most important is user case and speed to market. I think that when you see some of the great success today in the market, in Europe, in the US, there is at the end user case and being, I mean, you have to be first on the line and in this game, and I think that at the end you have to be the only one in the game. I mean, this is always the same in digital transitions, but I think that
You think about Doctolib, for example?
No, of course, Doctolib, because I always say this, but Doctolib, which is a great success, there is no rocket science in his technology. I'm not saying that they are not enhance or develop or increase their technology, but today, as of today, Doctolib is speed to market. I mean, the key factor that make Doctolib a unicorn is not the fact that there is a great technology. So I'm not saying that technology is not important, but I think a user case and market access and speed to market is more important.
So I have a slightly different view on this one, even if I think Filippo made a great point, because we need big infrastructure in order to deal with data, obviously, and we need all those health data to be properly structured in order to, diagnose or prevent or monitor a particular disease. But I think at the end, once you get those infrastructure in place, you really need great technology in order to turn those data into a proper diagnosis, for instance, or monitoring solutions. So I think, at the end of the day, you need both. So if you take some example, I know that in Germany, I think that the federal government decided to invest almost $1 billion to restructure the information system of hospital. I think that in France, it's going the same way. Because if you look at, for instance, in hospital, they're using tens of software structured differently. The data cannot be, used, among them. So you need to structure them. And so there is a big play to make is one infrastructure, as Filippo said, and obviously it's not rocket science because there's tons of technology. And behind that, you need to build proper solutions which require more technology in order to make it happen, especially in AI or machine learning.
Yes, as I said at the beginning, there is an acceleration, clear acceleration in e-health. And you said to me something interesting the other day, Filippo, about the relationship between the medical providers, the hospital, and the new kids on the block, the health tech. Maybe you can explain to us.
No, as I said before, I think that market access is a key success factor for a startup today. And what is happening is that at first everybody was quite excited about startups, about these young geeks. I'm sorry for the people that are here, that as a new solution, new idea. So there were a lot of time, a lot of, let's say, they were quite open on the provider side and even on the payer side to this new thing in town. And I think that things has a little bit changed because now when you say, I was discussing with a CEO of a university hospital recently, I said, now the door is closed. There is too crowded. Everybody's knocking on the door. Everybody's arriving with their new solution. There are too many things. I don't understand what is the good one. So there is an issue. And I think that there is something that is important to keep in mind, I think, for the startup that want to access the market. I think first they need to change probably their model. I think they probably need to have some different people that helps them. Probably they need some public affairs. Probably they need some different investor that can open the doors. But this is one thing. I think the other solution is also to partner with people that are already in the hospital. For example, IT providers or consultancy firm that can help them. But there is one thing that is also important that is happening now, is that the people that are already in, for example, the example here in France of Liefen, that is started in the carpet with something that was not, let's say, a great added value, but was a medical report, and now they have this break, and now they understand that they are already in the hospital, in the provider, in the physician office, and they can start going up and provide other solutions. So there is more let's say, listening from the provider and from the payers, for the people that are already installed, have already installed base with some solution that are probably not the same solution, to put up new solution, then having a new solution, great technology arriving that is fit perfectly with their needs, but is outside the door. So I think it's something that is changing now in the market.
Okay. Philippe, I think that it's clear that in France we have great mathematicians, we have great artificial intelligence, and I think that in the US they recognize that we are doing a really great job. But Filippo mentioned a lot the market access, and there is also the financing, and you are a partner in a fund. So do you think that the young and French health tech companies are addressing adequately this important step of their development, which is the market access? And what do you think about the financing? We saw that many French unicorns are financed by US funds, that France is trying to change the system. So what are your views? Do you have things to say about that?
So thanks for the question, Alain. It's a broad one. So it's and a complex one. So to jump on Filippo's remarks, I think we are seeing a new field emerging. And if we go back 25 years ago, when we saw Amazon, for instance, a guy selling book on the internet, nobody will figure out that 25 years later it will be the #1 retail company in the world. So, and we are still like this emergence 25 years back, if we make the same comparison. So we are at this stage. So we are seeing a lot of companies with different proposals, different products. But with today, what is missing is the way companies can make money out of it. So as investors, what we decide to do is to back companies that could piggyback some existing models like reimbursement. And while during that time we'll see more and more ways of new business model emerging, and then we will accommodate with new companies. In terms of financing, I started as an investor last century, so 1999. So I know I look young still, but that's the case. But I saw many things, and I think there is a lot of now funds, very professional investors. The quality of investors are really improved. Venture capital firms are going very down the road and are very disruptive in the terms of investment they are doing. The only thing that is missing to me today is in terms of amount of money managed. If for a company, a European company, you want to raise, let's say, 200 million, you need to go and see crossover funds in the US. But things are changing now, because we're seeing more and more venture capitalists going down the road and provide larger amount of money. So it's going in the right directions, but there is still a lot of things to do on this side, from my perspective at least.
Okay. Anything to add, Filippo, maybe to that?
No, I think we talk about financing. I think there is one point of the financing which is very important is the payer side. And I think on the payer side, the COVID has accelerated things in most of the countries. First, because there is an awareness of the situation that we need to have probably more digital to help the system first, and so they poured money in the system for solutions that were already there but didn't have the financing. For example, if you take here in France, telemedicine exists since many years. There used to be 10,000 consultations a week before COVID. There are 1 million a week after COVID. And now the reason is not because people are just getting used to this. There is one part that is this also, of course, and this is for the future. But now it's also because there is the financing there. I mean, the rural regulators and payers, now they put budget on this. They understand that they have to put financing on this. And with the financing from the payers, of course, things are different.
And I like the example of Omnidoc, a company in which you invested, where France is really pioneer in terms of reimbursement. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's reflect a little bit what I said about existing business models. So OmniDoc is a tele-expertise company, and the French government put in place, I think, one of these most, is pioneering a little bit in, not a little bit, is pioneering in the field, is to have a system where instead of, going to your doctor, then look at the doctor, then the doctor will send you to a specialist, and it can take times, sometimes for nothing because there's nothing to diagnose. So the best part is to have a platform where you have, the data are secured. Physicians can take a picture of something on your skin, for instance, send it to a dermatologist, to the hospital. He make the right diagnosis, and both of them will make money out of it.
Because the French security system reimburse?
Both sides. The GP we will send or prescribe the analysis as a dermatologist.
And I think it's the first time that
yes, this is we are pioneering. Yes, this is a pioneering things in France. We are leading this in Europe. I know that in Belgium, and I think if I'm not mistaken, in Germany, it's going to be also the case. Mm-hmm. So it will accelerate the way and the time management. What is key, because as you said in your introductions, we are missing today 1 million healthcare professionals only in Europe. Today, 1 million. So we need to make the system more efficient for the patients and for the healthcare professionals. And with the COVID, we all know that a lot of nurses and physicians are quitting because the system is a little bit broken because it's tough.
It's tough. And maybe now, I can't believe it, in 25 minutes, we did it. Filippo, can you imagine? Maybe as a takeaway, you had an interesting thought. I don't remember whether it's Philippe or Filippo, concerning the relation, what digitalization, not easy word to say, brings in terms of the relationship between the patient and the healthcare professional.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've heard about this also before COVID, also before all this new phase. That was quite well. Internet has changed the relationship between healthcare professional and patient. I think that this was the phase where the healthcare professional was scared about this, didn't really adopt this as because saying to the patient, "Don't go to internet. Internet is not giving the right answer to your needs." I think that now this is the situation of the digital solution today compared to internet phase at the time, is that this is reconciliating patient and caregivers, because the patients today, the doctors are not anymore scared about this, that these are taking away part of their business, as Philippe said. They are not replacing, and as you said, there are a huge shortage of personnel, of doctors, of nurses, of paramedics, and there is something also that we have to take into account now. There are huge volume of patients, sorry to say it like that are undiagnosed or untreated during these 2 years. So almost 2 years that people with cancer are not treated and so on. So all this tsunami of patients arriving, all this lack of shortage of personnel makes that this relationship is going to change. So the doctors, the physicians were the most reluctant, honestly, for digital, and not the patient, because we always say the patient are going not to adopt and are not going to adopt digital solution. The reality is that the physicians, the caregivers, the payers didn't want to adopt digital solution. I think that we are in a new phase where we can reconcile the relationship, and this can be an help for both parties to work together differently and to have a new coaching and partner relationship between the caregiver and the patient.
Okay, and maybe as a conclusion, talking to the pharma industry, I think the pharma recognize rather than they came really late in digitalization, and they are making a big push. You mentioned R&D, and there are others, and they're also creating incubators, and so we saw that with Future for Care. We see pharma, at least talking about French pharma, pushing really hard in order to make it for the anything to add? Okay, so 45 seconds. Okay, I try to... Any questions to our distinguished invitees? This is your last chance. Okay, thank you for listening. It was a great exchange, and
have a good day.
Maybe we'll be invited next year. We'll see. It depends on Pierre Courtet, who came to listen to us. Okay. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks.
Bye.